Now, you know what? No, I'm not. I refuse to believe this. F-47 in Iran, there is no. This is probably one of those like YouTube algorithm thing that Max is doing, because I refuse to believe that you're going to use F-47 in Iran. First of all, I'm pretty sure F-47 isn't ready yet, but let's say America's lying. This is overkill as an overkill can. Right now, they're trying to control Strait of Hormuz. What do you want? You want them all to jump into Strait of Hormuz now? You're not going to use F-47. If there is a world organization, they would probably like intervene, like, oh no, this is abuse. This is borderline abuse. We're going to take custody of Iran from you. You're not going to use F-47. But I'm guessing something happened with F-47. That's why Max is suddenly making video about it now. It's going to be awesome because F-22 is getting an upgrade. And F-47 is going to be even more powerful than the upgrade of F-22. It's just like you're just pumping roids into things over and over again and trying to be as powerful as possible. Everybody's not just trailing behind. They're so behind they can't even be seen now. It's going to be awesome. Let's go this one.
It's May 29th, 2026. Welcome to the video, everybody. Day 90 of the conflict with the U.S. and Iran. For the last 90 days, the United States Air Force, United States Navy, Marines has been using multiple jets, multiple platforms to take on Iran. F-35s, F-15Es, F-18s, F-16s, A-10s, B-2s, the most advanced manned aircraft in the Persian Gulf theater right now are 5th generation and 4th generation platforms that pretty much all were designed in the 90s. So the platforms are extraordinary, obviously. I flew the F-15E, incredible aircraft. See, I needed to drop the fact that I was a pilot. Whew, I feel a little bit better now. But what is coming is the F-47. Remember, Boeing was awarded the $20 billion contract for the world's first...
It's going to be called Thunderstorm. Oh.
6th generation fighter on March 21st of last year. President Trump announced it personally. Air Force Chief of Staff was there talking about the advanced, lethal, and adaptable 6th generation variant of this aircraft that's going to be the most advanced fighter ever built. And at this point, this jet...
You should have called it something like Meteor or something. Because F-47 is 6th gen stealth silent plane. Thunderstorms are loud. It's like a meteor. It will appear suddenly, blow everything up, and nobody will be like, how did this happen? You should have called it a meteor. That's more appropriate name.
That could shape the future of warfare, putting all the different enemies on the globe on notice, specifically Iran. I mean, this thing could have ended the Iran conflict in probably 3 days with more intelligence, more ISR, striking down different assets in the Strait of Hormuz, lots of different adaptations that this thing could have been doing. And we know that now it's not just a press release. This is actually happening with the announcement from Secretary of War Pete Hegseth about the F-47 being a massive priority to team up with these advanced drones in this $1.5 trillion budget. I mean, this thing's coming. So let's actually go to the video of Pete Hegseth and see what he said about the F-47, and we'll try to kind of pull some strings and read between the lines. Hey everybody, here we are on X. Let's have a listen to what Secretary of War Pete Hegseth said specifically about that beautiful F-47. Here we go.
We're making a record-breaking investment in drones, lethal ones, to dominate the battlefield of today and tomorrow.
So it likely means first-person view drones, those small little quadcopters, all the way from that to the Lucas drone, which the Marines are operating right now. Basically that clone, which was the big middle finger to Iran. Okay, Iran, you're going to fly these little Dorito-shaped drones at us. Cool. We're going to redesign them, put Shield AI autonomy in them, so way better brains.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Hive mind AI. So these things can accompany F-47 in mass, basically. Imagine, I mean, it can't accompany it completely, right? I mean, speed must be a factor. How slow F-47 gonna fly? But this thing could join F-47 in a given area if needed to.
And what Iran has, and then fire those back at Iran. I would love to see the combat footage of those Lucas drones being used. So from that, then all the way to the Anduril Fury drone, the AI XBAT, and other autonomous fighter-style wingmen is likely what we're going to see here.
This allows us to unleash massive swarms of autonomous drones that will fly and...
I love that the robot dog is in there. It's like, yep, we got these quadcopters, we've got these other advanced sea drones, underwater unmanned vehicles, and then we've got the robot dog. You gotta have the robot dog.
fight right alongside our
Boom, there it is. Okay, so there's the Anduril Fury. We know tons of testing has been going on the Anduril Fury. You can see the Max afterburner, if I don't say so myself, little shameless plug, the afterburner coming out of the back of that Anduril Fury. Just super cool for me to see this. And I got a story for you guys about finally seeing these fighter type drones I'll share with you in a second.
Manned sixth generation fighter, the F-47.
Ah.
While our
Oh, we got to go back a little bit, just a little bit. Let's see that beautiful F-47. Oh, there it is. So that is going to be such a sweet aircraft. So some of the little hints, little tells that we're seeing here, looks like they put a center stick in there. But if I was a betting man, this thing's going to have a side stick, just like the F-22 and F-35. That's the one thing I would change about the F-15, like the F-15EX rolling off the line. Don't have a center stick. It gets in the way of your screen. Literally blocks one of your main MFDs, multifunction displays, right there in the center.
And it's also tiring, isn't it? Because if you have to do this, it's an effort. If you just put it inside, you can just, it's easier. Anything inside easier. If you have to do this, it's an effort. Your delts and everything, over time, it starts to wear out. You're going to start to have issues. It just makes sense when it's inside. This is more like an AI rendering, so it's not going to get everything right, I guess.
And it keeps you from seeing the battlefield sometimes. So put that stick on the side and I'll be happy there. And then obviously there will be some sort of a 6th generation helmet. This is more of a legacy setup of an F-16 with the heads-up display right here in the center.
While our next generation bomber, the B-21.
Oh, B-21. I feel a follow-on video coming tomorrow. Stay tuned for that one. But yeah, just a little teaser here. Look at that thing. It looks like a stingray, just like the way that it's shaped. Obviously, a little cartoon graphic design. The real thing looks even better. But their whole goal is to integrate those engines.
Not stingray. What is that an eagle, right? That the face and like this kind of like an... yeah, it's eagle. It's supposed to look like an eagle from side. B2 and B21, right? I don't know. Yeah, it does look like an eagle.
So the actual version of the B-21 has the intakes that kind of go down and into the actual body of the aircraft like a dragon.
We're funding advanced cyber operations and artificial intelligence.
And this is huge too. Integrating AI into the actual F-47 itself is going to be massive because the guts and the brains of that and the way that it talks to those different drone wingmen, this AI section to me obviously involves a ton of different military systems.
And by making the largest ever investment in the Space Force, we will lead the world in capabilities beyond our atmosphere.
Yeah, Space Force, baby. So Space Force to me is kind of the unsung hero in a lot of these situations, a lot of these conflicts, because they're the ones using these satellites to geolocate, find targets, and then share communications data between different aircraft. It's massive to have the Space Force involved. And they've got little white gloves. I mean, the white gloves part makes me want to join Space Force alone. Maybe they even have white flight suits at this point. But I want you to walk away from this video today knowing exactly what the F-47 is, what its drone wingman, the Anduril Fury, the General Atomics Dark Merlin, and Shield's AI XBAT. What can they do alongside this thing, and what's going to make it different from just having multiple F-22s or F-35s? Well, the IRGC's air defense network got taken down in roughly 24...
Right now, US military has pieces, right? Pieces to make a complete puzzle that is the most powerful thing there is. So if all those pieces fit, which it will when F-47 is made, all these drones are a real thing. Lucas drone and Shield AI is a real thing, and it all integrates. That makes US Air, which is already too powerful, insanely powerful. The only problem is production. You need to ramp up production. You can't be called like, oh yeah, we only have few F-47. Furies, we don't have that much, like we only have like 50 Furies. Lucas, we didn't produce it that much. China has 1 million drones, while we only have 2,000. You can't do that. So production is one thing where USA needs to like invest heavily on now, when it comes to cruise missiles, drones, and everything.
4 hours or so. But in my opinion, I think this could have taken down a lot more, a lot faster if you team up the F-47 with these advanced drones, because not in a small part because of the electronic attack ability that these aircraft have when they team up together. Because we know at the beginning of this conflict, Operation Epic Fury, that thousands of Tomahawk missiles were used, up to a little over 1,000 are the reports.
How many Gs do this Fury pull? That's what I want to know. Because there is an element of all the fighter jets have a limitation. You can't make it maneuver that fast. Otherwise, the pilot will literally die or go unconscious. Doesn't matter how trained they are. There is a human limit to that. A drone doesn't have that limit. So that makes me think, and all those tic-tac UFO things, I believe that that's not a real UFOs. I was thinking suspicion that's some form of a drone the US is doing. Oh, it has a like arc, the no thing we have right now can do. No thing you have that can do. America's probably doing like a heavy maneuver speed drones, because humans are not inside. You don't need to worry about that. So Fury and many other type of system like that, I really need to know like how fast can it move, because that would change everything
that I'm seeing. So that's actually a lot of resources if these different aircraft can team up to electronically attack different IATs, integrated air defense systems, in nations like Iran, or even in a Taiwan Strait scenario or North Korea scenario. And then stay around for the roundup. We're going to cover a couple different things, specifically some of these drones. There was actually a recent crash of one of these drones. And then we're also going to get into Iran.
There is no North Korea scenario. If you go war with China for Taiwan, North Korea will be there. Because first of all, it's very close. They rely on China heavily, and there is that like anxiety feel to it, that if USA wins against China, what does that mean for North Korea? So this is like one of those things where North Korea will be there attacking USA if US-China war starts.
Rebuilding their air defenses. What is Iran actually doing? So we'll be covering that throughout the video. So basically, at this point, it's pretty clear Iran's defenses couldn't even handle the 5th generation package. So trying to hold the 6th generation package, something that big, is going to be a little bit too big for Iran at this point. So let's start with the jet itself, because the gap between 5th and 6th generation, it's not really an upgrade. It's an entire different category of warfare. So Boeing's contract for the F-47 covers development of at least 185 aircraft, which is massive. That is a massive fleet of 6th generation fighters. The first operational aircraft could arrive as soon as 2028, because there's reports of this flying right now, with images showing variants of the F-47 actually flying at Area 51. So if we start with what the capability of it is, the F-47's combat radius is said to exceed 1,000 nautical miles. The F-22 has a 590-mile combat radius. The F-35 has 600 miles. So the F-47 is 69% longer legged than either of them. And I like how they made it exactly 69%, just like a good fighter pilot should do. That means that this thing can reach contested areas around Taiwan, from Guam to Japan, without tanker support, eliminating the vulnerability China basically spent 20 years calculating and building with its DF-26 anti-ship ballistic missiles and its surface-to-air missile systems. So not needing a tanker means that China's missile math doesn't really apply to high-value.
Yeah, I mean, F-22's new upgrade, F-22 2.0, I just saw a video from Sandbox, is already giving them like a 700 to 800 miles range with extended fuel tanks. F-47 is made in a way that it will have more than 1,000 miles. Which makes me think, how are they going to do that? Seriously, man, like, is the plane going to be really big than F-22? Doesn't that kind of like, if it's too big, doesn't that kind of defeats the purpose? It is going to be big than F-22 as far as I think, but how big? And it will have 1,000+ miles range. How are they going to pull that? Some efficient engines, right? Somehow making it so, I mean, it could be dual systems, right? Like, what is the difference between a fighter jet engine and the engine from a commercial airliner? How much air goes into the engine and how much air goes outside of the engine? That the ratio is different, right? So this engine could have been made that you can split the ratio when needed. So in a cruise mode, you can just become like how commercial airliner, how that engine works. So you have a much higher range. It could be a hybrid system like that.
Targets, because China has always war gamed striking down high value targets first, because those tankers have to get in so close they don't even need to worry about the fighters anymore, because the fighters won't have any gas. That's not the case with the F-47, and that pretty much changes everything. And I want to be precise here, because 5th generation stealth and 6th generation stealth are not even in the same ballpark. The F-22 and F-35, those have low observable radar cross sections across certain frequencies. The F-47 is designed by the Air Force as featuring all aspect broadband low observability, reduced radar and infrared signatures from every single angle, not just from the front, across the full electromagnetic spectrum. It's called multi-spectral stealth. That's why we kind of see this tailless design with no
How? How are they going to hide the back exhaust? Are they going to feature in a way that it somehow closes at an angle so you can't really detect it even from behind? Wouldn't that affect the thrust? So I don't know. How are they going to hide the back exhaust? I mean, yeah, it makes sense. If they say they're going to do it, they probably already have the technology to do it. This is absolute stealth if they can do it, right? But that's insane.
Vertical stabilizers.
The main thing with F-47, I think, is like its ability to have its precision, right? F-22 is already precise. Yeah, fly-by-wire, and it's insanely precise. Like it's like playing a video game at this point. That's how precise it is. F-47 is going to be even more precise and accurate at tons. And when AI can also take over. So there are going to be very much features that F-22 right now can't have or can't implement because you have to change the entire structure for it, size and everything. So F-47 literally going to be leagues ahead of that.
To create those radar returns, skins that can absorb and scatter those radar frequencies across different frequencies. The F-35's designers never had to account for this, and a thermal signature management system that handles the heat of a Mach 2 plus engine without lighting up any other infrared sensors. It's not just stealthier than the F-22. This is a qualitatively different signature problem for any radar operator from any adversary nation to solve. But the engine here, something I really want to highlight to you guys. The F-47 engine is genuinely exotic. Like literally, I think this engine should be dancing on a...
See, is this going to dissipate the heat signature? How? I mean, B2 already has like dissipating heat signature element, Northrop put it, right? So Boeing could have gone in the same direction, but much better technology.
Hole somewhere, because there's two companies competing for the contract, Pratt & Whitney with an XA-103 and GE Aerospace with the XA-102. Both are building physical prototypes right now, and both are 3-stream adaptive cycle engines, which has a real operational meaning. High thrust mode, maximum combat power. Maybe I should change the channel to high thrust mode. Let me know in the comments below if I should be high thrust mode at this point. Mach 2 plus in cruise mode. The third bypass stream increases fuel efficiency by 25% and range by 30% over conventional engines. The same engine that sprints like a fighter.
Is it not what I said? It just makes sense. It's a hybrid engine that changes between those ratios, so it just makes sense, right?
Cruises like a bomber, and it has double the cooling and electrical power capacity of any current engine, which there's one big reason why it has this beefy of an engine and directed energy systems, because that's a design requirement in my mind that you would only need if you were planning to put directed energy systems on the F-47. Lasers on a fighter jet. Can I get a fighter jet with frickin' laser beams? At this point, I think we've upped the ante from sharks with frickin' laser beams. Sorry, sharks with frickin' laser beams. You were cool before, but F-47 with laser beams kind of has an edge on you. But here's the piece that changes everything about how the aircraft fights. The aircraft plans to acquire more than 1,000 collaborative combat aircraft, drone wingmen, with roughly 2 assigned to every F-47 at a minimum. So this jet isn't just a fighter, it's a systems commander quarterback. And the F-47 pilot doesn't really fly into the threats. They manage a formation of autonomous aircraft that fly into the threat, while the F-47 can do pretty much whatever it wants. It can stay outside the engagement envelope of SAMs entirely if it wants to, or it can use these little drones as spoofers and as decoys. The pilot's display will likely show every drone in the formation what that drone is seeing. So targeting decisions happen at machine speed with AI integrated.
These drones range is 2,000 nautical miles, all right?
And then weapons can be fired by platforms that the adversary can't even track back to the manned aircraft. So the F-47 can be targeting a drone into the enemy from across the battle space or way above the battle space where the enemy has no idea there's anything up there lurking.
Don't want to pause too much, but Iran, at this point, is Iran sage? Does Iran know the future? Because I don't know, am I giving them more credit? With the like Shahid drones, they were kind of right. Look what it came out from, like Lucas drones, right? With a like whole shield AI and everything. That's basically Terminator level thing with thousands of drones or with hive mind. Kind of started with Iran, right? And now drone carrier. Iran was also doing that out of necessity, but it kind of makes sense. Imagine X-Bat drone carriers. But it isn't like it has this, VLS type cells where like drones come out of and just fly. It has a 2,000-mile range, it has multiple bomb and comes back and gets refitted and goes back again. You can have drone carriers with like, I don't know, hundreds of X-Bat drones, which do this thing, comes back, you don't even need a pilot.
So basically the F-47 pilot is the quarterback and the drones run the routes on the field. So China is the threat that this aircraft is designed to defeat. The People's Liberation Army Air Force is flight testing two apparent 6th generation prototype competitors right now, the Chengdu J-36, the Shenyang J-50, both featuring tailless designs and thrust vectoring. China flew something that looked 6th generation before the US announced the F-47, which generated some massive headlines, obviously. But here's what those headlines omitted. China lacks the variable cycle engine technology of the XA-103. Their WS-15 is a capable 5th generation power plant, and we've seen it on some of their 5th generation jets like the J-20, but it can't switch modes in flight. And what that tells me is likely the Chinese 6th generation version isn't going to be able to handle directed energy weapons. That's going to be a huge limitation, not to mention the stealth limitation of having 5th generation engines plinked onto this thing, just like a Lego set. They're like,
G20 into the surface has to answer to F-22. Yeah, sure, yeah.
We're not really good at building these advanced engines, so we're just going to connect in a little Lego here from the J-20, which is really going to hurt them in the stealth department. Oh, China, you just have a 5th generation engine. Oh, yeah. China's like, no, it's really important. It's really strong. And we're like, yeah, it's not the size of the engine that matters, China. Good job. You made it to the global roundup, my friends. There's actually a crash of one of these drones, the YFQ-44A crash on April 6th. That's the Dark Merlin. It went down at General Atomics Gray Butte test facility in California due to an autopilot miscalculation in its flight autonomy software involving weight and center.
You're going to hear a lot of this probably. Even with the Fury and all that, like AI training, it's going to cause a lot of damages and crashes. It will get darker before it gets bright. You know that saying. It will happen in this case as well. Like before AI becomes really good, it will have crashes like that.
Of gravity. So as you can see, these drones aren't immune from having some sort of issues, and that's why this flight testing is so important right now. But on the other side of it, Anduril's Fury drone actually launched an AIM-120 AMRAAM. So yeah, there's a lot of advancements coming, but there will be a few hiccups on the way as this gets integrated. And then story number 2, Iran's chief negotiator, Mohammad Ghalibaf, he stated publicly that Iran is rebuilding everything in their military and that they're fully restored to their combat capability from before the war. What I do buy is they're heavily doubling down on drones like Shahed drones and their fast attack craft. They're probably building those things as fast as possible because they want that. And that's what we're seeing them do in the Strait of Hormuz right now. You made it to the 40 chess section, so let's talk about why the F-47, the strategic message, is being sent out right now. Everything's strategic right now. The Department of War isn't just releasing this $1.5 trillion budget for their health, including the F-47. The whole goal here is to deter adversaries, and deterrence is one of the biggest things the F-47 is going to do when these nations know, oh, they can't really compete at all with this 6th generation program. Like Russia can't compete, China can't compete. They're going to try, they're going to put things out there that might look like they're competing, but right now the United States is in the highest evolution of innovation in aviation that I've seen in...
See, that shape, a Dorito shape, looks great, right? It looks smooth, it looks like a kite. The problem with aerodynamic is if it completely looks like that, what about maneuverability? What about the high-speed stability? Can this thing do all that? There's a reason why F-47 has those like things sticking out in front, and then it's like there's a reason why shape is like that. This is the problem. If you're just gonna take design from F-35 and F-22, make your 5th generation plane, and suddenly you think now I'm gonna create 6th generation or some plane like that, J-36, it's not that easy. You need know-how and experience in order to do that. So I don't know, like maybe J-36 is good. Who knows? We'll see.
decades. So right now, the US is resolutely saying that it's important for us to have this 6th generation F-47, and it could be unleashed at any point because it's already being tested. There's already test flights. Likely this thing will be in combat squadrons in 2028 to 2029, somewhere in there. I think we should call this thing the F-47 Giga Chat. Anybody else? Let me know what you think we should call the F-47 in the comments below. My vote is the Giga Chat.
Let's not demean military with all this internet BS, Sigma, Giga Chat, and all this BS. Let's keep TikTok away, is what I'm saying. I like Thunderstorm.
But thanks so much for watching, guys. Really appreciate it.
There you go. US military just flexed. I mean, I didn't know that many information came out. Even the P-Tech said all these things. I mean, it makes sense, but the official people coming out and confirming it just signifies things like, yeah, this is happening now and this is a priority. We'll see in a few years like F-47. Imagine that. Imagine F-47 getting unveiled. I mean, I was a kid when F-22 was unveiled. F-47 getting unveiled, that would be a moment, right? Like internet will probably have this like constant live stream and shit. Like it will basically have a lot of views. We are living in internet age right now. How would F-47 look like? That's insane. All right, I'll see you next time.